Hi friends, Kansi here from Top Serenity Hill, and welcome back to part 2 of the junk journal, creating a junk journal. And again, a reminder that I'm creating this junk journal for Junk Journal January 2025, and that I am day 16, Unfold, and today we are working on adding the signatures. So this will end up with 3 signatures, a reminder of where we are. So we have one signature for here, one for here, and then one for in here. So the signature in here is actually going to show up on day 16. So we won't be doing that one today, but that's my unfold signature. And so you'll have to hang around till the 16th. If you're doing it exactly the same as me, you'll have plenty of space to work in these two, and then you can work in this signature from the 16th of January on. Okay, so I need 2 signatures, and I've decided on the papers that I wanted. So I hope you had spent some time to gather them. If not, just watch this and then go back and watch it again with your papers. So the signature in the front, let's start with the one in the front. I decided, for no reason, I don't have like a 7 is the best number. I like odd numbers. 3 is my favorite number, so I tend to do things in 3s, hence the reason I have 3 signatures. So I have 7 pieces of paper that I decided I would like to have to play on. So I do not have, as you can see, a colors theme or scheme for this. It is literally throw it all at it, junk journal. Maybe in the end there'll be a theme that emerges, but I'm not trying to stay in like the all purple family or the all vintage, tea-dyed, coffee-stained family, because that's not me necessarily, but I wanted it to just be a collection of things and then see what happens from there. All right, so the papers that I chose for the front signature are the magazine paper. Oddly enough, it does have purple on it, which I love. My book club paper flyer. I'm leaving it at like this. I folded it in half. It's just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I folded it in half, and then I'm going to put it in, because then I have the option of making it a pocket if I want to. Okay, so I have that. I have another magazine because I wanted to include the macaroni and cheese. I wanted to include my friend's stationery, the Society 6 magazine, because of the cover, the colors I just love. I just love the feeling of this paper. So I'm also, this is magazine, this is printer paper magazine, a little bit thicker of, printer paper for that stationery. This is more cardstock. This is that deli paper. I think it's deli paper. It doesn't feel like tissue paper, but kind of has that deli paper, tissue paper feel. And then this old vintage writing paper. Okay, so that's what I've chosen. And so the first thing, they're all going to go in this front signature, and I'm going to pamphlet stitch it with black wax thread. Okay, so again, you do you, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use pamphlet stitch. I have my needle and my pokey tool. I don't have an actual awl. I have this pokey tool that I think came from something I did in pottery at some point. So I have that. A couple clips to hold it together, and of course my bone folder. So the first thing I want to do is just fold. If this is new to you, the pamphlet stitch and all that, the first thing I'm going to do is just fold all the papers. Okay, so I've got all my papers folded, and then I'm going to put them back, tuck them all into each other. And what I do want to do as I'm going is it doesn't matter. If you want to stick out of your journal, you can. I don't particularly want this to stick out of the journal too much. So I'm going to trim as I'm going. Let's make sure you can see everything. So as I'm going, I'm going to start trimming off, and I'm ripping because, again, I would like that real rusticy look to all the edges. So that goes in there, okay. And this is the next one I want in, and that sticks out ever so slightly too. And you can cut them, you know, it doesn't really matter how you get the edges off. Sometimes it helps to do it the other way. Pull the short edge and pull the long paper. All right, so that works. Oh, I love this skeleton and Christmas. Oh, just wonder where I'll take that. Just never know. All right, so I've got that, and then I've got my mac and cheese. That one I think works. And you'll notice that I didn't fix any of the edges. I'm loving that edging. All right, this one I think is going to be long the other way. Yeah, this way. So I need to, about there. All right, let's open back up. All right, so that works. And then we have our magazine. So I also made a conscious effort to decide what was on the outside, okay, and what was on the middle. All right, which I love this spread, so I don't want to cut it off. Everything else didn't necessarily feel like, you know, I had to have the middle as mac and cheese, or it needed to be this, or anything like that. This felt the best as my center. All right, so I'm just going to make sure they're all, the reason I'm trying to line them up and make a conscious effort, especially with the short one, is that when I do the pamphlet stitch, I need 3 holes, and I want to make sure that I'm catching at least 2 holes for all the papers. Okay, and this one being the most worrisome, but if I do the catch one here and here, if I don't catch it down here, that would be okay. Right. And again, I'm going to emphasize this a million times. This is a junk journal. Junk journal. All right. Whoops, excuse me, throwing things. So I'm going to clip these in. So that should hold it within that space, see, in there, okay? And then I'm going to grab my pokey tool and go center-ish, and I'm going to close it down and push through. And then because I'm working, let's double check. This is where you can check on your papers. Remember that blue paper is the one that's worrying me the most. So it looks like about 1.5 inches down. Poke another hole. And then I would like it to be about the same. So I'll put a finger there, and it looks like it's catching the blue. So that's delightful. And again, I'm not measuring. This doesn't matter to me. I'm just poking my holes. All right. So then I need my, I always forget what this is called. Wax linen thread. You can use embroidery floss. You can use whatever works for you. I'm just using the black. I think that it works with, you know, my black words, because I'm going to keep the herb garden words. So I want to do like 1, 2, 3-ish lengths. And then I'm going to thread my needle. And here's where you have an option of, do you want the thread to end up on the outside where maybe you could add some beads or something like that, or do you want it to, the knot and the ends of the threads to end up on the inside? So wherever you want them to end up is where you would start. And I'm going to go, I don't think I want to, if I add any dangles or anything to this, I think I'm going to add it a different way. So I'm going to start on the inside. So you're starting in the middle, coming out, and you want to leave a few inches so that you can tie it off. And you're going in through either the top or the bottom. And sometimes finding the hole is interesting. Shouldn't really be this difficult, but because I'm on camera right now, it's going to be difficult. Of course it is. All right, so make sure it's tight. And then you go out across the center and go out the bottom. And I keep checking to make sure it's nice and tight. And then you want to come in the center again, so in through the outside and on the opposite side of your center, so that you have one string on one side, and let me pull this through, one string on the other, okay? Take my needle off. Boop. And you probably don't need this much. It's always, I usually just do 2 lengths, honestly. But sometimes if you're new to this, 3 lengths just gives you enough wiggle room to play with. And you don't have to worry about your needle going through. All right, and I'm going to do a double knot. The wax linen holds itself really tightly. That's one of the joys of using the wax linen, is that it kind of adheres to itself. All right. Boop, boop. All right. Boom. And there, and then you have your, I can add some beads or some dangles or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm playing with this as I go. All right. So this is my first one, and look, sticks up a little. But guess what? Solve that problem quickly. So here's my signature. And again, I can make this into a top pocket or a side pocket when I get to that idea. And I do have to be careful with this magazine and the wax linen, but you know, I'm sure I'll reinforce it somehow. But here you go. Signature number 1. Done. Okay. And it's not bulking this up a lot right now. Eventually, once I start adding things to it, it will. All right, so signature number 2 is the one in the back. And this is the one I had talked about before with, excuse me, too much paper on my table, with using this fold out as part of my idea to just not have a regular, this would be to me what I would call a regular signature, okay? But I thought it might be kind of interesting to have kind of like a fold out booklet of the signature on the back. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I can do exactly what I did in the front, take all the paper and tuck them into each other and then, you know, bind this entire thing in. But I wanted to show you a different way of a different signature, a different way of adding a signature. So this is going to be pamphlet stitched in. This, I'm going to cut it and everything in a second, but this is going to be pamphlet stitched in so that it's solid. I don't want it to be glued down because I might use this as decoration. Eventually I might decorate this. It becomes its own surface to decorate. And then what I did with all the paper is, it goes this way. This is a great way to use paper. The way I'm going to show you, the way I'm going to show this, is use paper that has a design only on one side, but there's nothing on the back of it, okay? And a friend of mine, I forget, she calls this like a stacked journal or a stacked way of doing it. I think that's what she's referring to. I'm sure in the bookbinding world, there's an official thing for this, but I'm just going to call it, you know, stacking your pages. So all the pages that I chose have a design, you know, pretty much on the inside, but nothing is relevant on the back side, okay? And this is a book page, and it has nothing on this side. So what I'm going to end up doing is gluing them to each other. It's also so this becomes its own signature. It's not this with this and then this with this. So this is the signature, or not the signature. This is the spread. This is the spread. This is the spread, okay? So it's another way of, if you really love your paper and you love the design as a double page spread, then you have it. You're not breaking it up so that half of it's on one page and half of it's on another. And usually when people do a stacked signature like this, all the pages line up and they're all the same exact size, and I'm not doing that today. So the first thing I'm going to do, before I even cut this down, because we will have to cut this down, is just glue all these together. So let me grab my glue book and my glue stick. So this is my first page. I'll end up gluing this to this. Okay, that's where it's going to go. So this is my first. I'm just going to lie it down. And then I've got page number 2. And page number 2, I'm going to glue to page number 1. This side to this side, okay? So let's add some glue. So I'm lining up the 2 folded edges. And let me grab a smushy card, a gift card. All right, so then this then is glued to this. And I'm okay with the overlap and that it sticks out, that it doesn't stay exactly within it, because again, junk journal. So I'm doing this as a very off-center stacked signature, okay? So that's the one. Then I've got, let me stick this here. I've got page number 2, which then I will glue down. So I'm going to add glue. So if you're doing this with thin paper, a glue stick works just fine. If you're doing this stacked type of journal with, say, like mixed media paper or even watercolor paper, you might have to use more of a wet, like matte gel will work way better than a glue stick, because you are trying to stack thick paper to thick paper, okay? So something to bear in mind. But this is all, junky paper. So again, I've got page number 1, page number 2, page number 3, and funness, I've got this little piece sticking out, okay? And then I've got this sticking out of this, all right? So I'm gonna end up doing that for this entire stack. I'm just gonna put glue, stick, okay? And then we'll meet back here. All right, so I have all the pages, and if you have to be careful that you don't glue yourself closed. So as you glue each piece, just be careful that you're not gluing, because they will overlap, and that they're not gluing to, and closing 2 pages together. So just as you're going, just be mindful of that. And, but I love the way, it's just a fun, different way of having a signature. And, if something's not glued all the way, you can glue it as you're going. Well, since I'm right here, I'll just add a little bit. Because sometimes it's hard to judge, how much glue you need. So, but it's really super fun way of having a signature, because then you have these full spreads of paper, which is delighting me. And I love the extra pieces that are hanging out. All right, So I've got my signature, it's gonna dry, and so you see it builds up, get that in focus. It builds up an edge for what you need to fold over. So if it's a really thick amount of paper, you might have to, you know, create like a gusset on something. If you're folding it in, you might have to create like a space for it to live, okay, for the spine to live. Mine is not that thick. The paper is pretty thin. I'm okay with it just sitting in this, all right? I'm quite happy with that. So now I have to decide, and this is pretty much the height, yeah, of this piece. So I need this to be the same thing. And again, you've noticed that I'm not necessarily working on the same color. That doesn't matter to me. Whatever. Now, I do know that this is different sizes, I think. So I want to make sure that it fits. I think I like this. That works good. And what I love is that this, when it sits in here, yeah, color-wise, that works for me. The pink against this, the green visually. And that's just a me. That's a me thing, okay? So I want to cut this down or tear it down. I need to keep all of this because I need to, I don't need to keep all of it, but most of it. But I just want it to be not so perfect. So I want to get some of this off. I want more of a torn feel to it. All right, so I'm going to tear a little bit of that off. Tear a tiny bit, as little as I can, off of this. And one of the things I would like to get is a tear ruler, which gives it more of like a deckled edge, as opposed to this. This is torn, but it's torn almost too perfectly with a metal ruler. But you know, we'll work on that. You can buy tear rulers. You can also make tear rulers, and I most likely will make mine because Delightful when I found a version of that. All right, so now I need to make it the right height. I think I really love all this green, so we're going to tear this off. I'm going to line this up because I want to be able to visually see. I'm using my table as a guide. Okay, fun. All right. So I need to tear it in this vicinity. So I love getting some Happy Mail pieces from my students. It's always fun to get stuff like this because it's things that you would never make for yourself. So it's always delightful. All right, so that's that. This fits in here. Boop, boop. Love that. And then it becomes its own, okay. So this is going to get glued in here, but I need to attach this into here. So I'm going to pamphlet, my God, I cannot say that. Pamphlet stitch this here into here. I could have stapled it. I mean, there's a million things that you could do, but this will work. So again, because I know that 3 was too much, I'm going to go with a generous 2. I don't like to waste. Mine's a waste thing. All right, so I got that, and then I need to put my 3 holes. So center-ish. Should be able to lay it down and push through. You can see it there. And then let's see if I can, the general gist. As you can see, I'm being very general here. Ooh, good aim. And then here, so that it lines up. Again, you could have measured it. Why would I do that? All right, same idea. Out through the inside. Let's flip it over. Leave some to tie. Whoops. In through the outside, across to the bottom, in through the middle, but on the opposite side. Whoops. Opposite side, so I can tie a knot over the center. All right, you can see how 2 was, a generous 2 is good. It was plenty. Make sure it's nice and tight. All right. I'm going to tie just a single because the linen thread holds pretty good. So I'm just going to tie a single. The reason being is I still have to glue the signature in. So if you don't have the signature to glue in, then 2 will work. But I want to glue, I'm going to glue this against that. So I want to make sure that it's you know, it's not too much bulk. All right. So I've got my signature. I'm going to put glue on the back of this one. This is how I'm going to do it. Watch what I'm doing, and then you can do it however works for you. But I'm on my back page. I'm going to do the back one first. Generous glue. Okay. Smush it down. Okay. There it is. And then I'm going to put glue on this one. Being generous. And then I'm going to lay this one down on top. Okay. And I didn't need that much glue all the way to the edge, but that's okay. So then we got that. And then it just keeps opening flat. Boop. 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 Flat. And then this can close. Boop. Don't glue that down. Don't lose your needle. I'm infamous for losing those all over my table. All right, and then this closes here, and I'm gonna figure out, do I want a pocket there? You know, do I want to extend the spread out into that so it's like a triple spread when I work on it? I don't know. I haven't decided, because that's going to be part of the challenge. But do I want to, you know, put a piece of Velcro here so that it holds it closed, or a pop, you know, a sticky pop dot. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to close it. What I'm going to allow is when I go through the prompts, I want those prompts to help me design the cover, maybe, you know, give me a reason for giving, you know, a couple interesting closures, or it might just be, you know, the word antique might pop up and I find this amazing antique looking ribbon, and I'm like, whoa, ribbon, 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 done, closure, done. Okay, so this also has the ability to get fatter. So, you know, this, if this gets in the way eventually because it's, you know, too fat, then I might have to score it and make it a gusset so that it has the ability to wrap around, if this starts to get bulky. And this is, as I go, I will make those decisions. It doesn't have to be made today, okay? But I have the ability to get fatter with it. It's a fun little accordion. All right. I also have these pages that I can use to decorate on. And, you know, I can do something fun on these if I wanted to. I still have this gorgeous piece of paper. So maybe a pocket, and I add some tags. I don't know. That's the joy. The joy of finding out what's going to happen during January. All right. So make your journal. I hope you'll join us. If you find this outside of Junk Journal January, I hope you'll just try making yourself a junk journal to play in and have fun. My philosophy in any kind of creativity: play, curiosity, okay? Have fun, follow the what ifs, keep it simple. This is as simple as it gets, okay? Keep it small. This is small, manageable, size of my palm. Keep the time you work on it short if you need to. 5 minutes counts, a minute counts, 15 minutes counts. You do not need to have all day to work in a journal, all right? Have fun, my friends. Have fun, and I will see you in another video. Thank you.